A round of applause for Yoshifumi Gotsuka, because that was another week of peak for Undead Unluck. We got blessed with not only one, but two cover pages, along with one of the dopest fights I've seen in a while. Izumo Fuuko versus Void Volks, and it's just getting started, and I want to talk about this chapter. However, there's going to be a quick update about that long video I'm making, the 2022 recap, saving that for the end of the video, so I'll drop some timestamps so you guys can get to that update if you want to hear it now, but sheesh, let's talk about it. But Yoshifumi did have a quick message he wanted y'all to hear.
It don't cost nothing to show. Getting money.
Hey, you heard it from him. It's not even me. Doesn't cost anything to show some love. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you're new here, but let's jump into it. This opening color panel not only looks beautiful, but it's a really dope shot. Fuuko and the gang are kind of preparing for things, and you see Nico kind of acting like a coach, quizzing over Fuuko, like, hey, we're gonna whittle down his stamina, we're gonna get in there, you gotta dodge his blows, and you see he's got this eye patch on, and that is a reference to Ashida no Jo, one of the GOAT series and the coach within there, Danpei, and man, a disgraced fighter with an eye patch. And you've noticed already, this whole arc, this fighting arc has been just rattled with a bunch of references to a bunch of series. There was the Balrog reference last chapter to Street Fighter. There's another reference this chapter even, and I love how Yoshifumi just pays respects to everything that he loves in every single chapter of Undead Unluck. You can find so many references in this series, but I'm rattling. But it's time for the challenger to take the stage. The Japanese samurai Fuuko Izumo versus the world champion on January 31st, 1999. With the match about to begin, Coach Ashida no Nico once again reiterates the plans to Fuuko. Just steamroll him with your unluck. Make direct contact and the bout is yours. Your main objective is to fulfill the requirements for Void's negation ability to manifest. Upon the biggest stage with all the world watching, he fights his biggest match and unintentionally kills his opponent when his unavoidable ability manifests. And given Fuuko is nowhere near as skilled as a boxer as the individual who Void really would have fought, she has to use Unluck in order to kind of proc this situation. And Gina's just the backup right now, she's just the capture, but we got everything in place. Let's see the fight. Fuuko immediately dashes in on Void to close the distance, but Void uses his patented peekaboo stance, one that uses defense in order to find a counterattack opportunity. And this is a real stance, and you know it's a stance that's used by somebody who you may know. Ippo from Hajime no Ippo, and I think this is really dope because a infighter is somebody who tries to be uptight, up close with their opponents, and that's quite literally what Void is. Somebody who gets up as close as he can and just says, I'ma hit you with the hardest punch ever on his Saitama, on his freaking Kafka Ibano. It's hard. That's hard. But Void taking this sort of defensive stance is kind of a help for Fuuko. She's just trying to land a good blow so she can get some unluck to proc. And she even knew that in this past bout she had with him, she landed that spirit punch that even gave him some damage. So she goes for that same blow, a 1-inch punch. But this time, Void just holds it. Void says, I realize this is some sort of Kimpo technique, but I don't really know how that relates to this hit. I don't really know. I don't really care. Void says I'm too brolic for that, but it's okay. Theoretically, that punch should have procced some unluck, right? Wrong. At the same moment you'd think Fuuko's unluck would manifest, Void comes in with a killer uppercut, bouncing Fuuko off the ropes, and everybody's kind of confused at this moment, bewildered as to why Fuuko's unluck is not proccing. But I truly loved this little mini arc in this chapter because Fuuko is just such the GOAT. If you had somebody who was the opposite of the evilest person, the most righteous individual, the person who makes every single right decision, the person who's the most empathetic person in the world, who just always is thinking of others first, it would be Izumo Fuuko, just trying to ensure that Void Volks in his last fight, something that means the world to him, goes down the correct way, that there's no sort of shortcuts, there's no sort of whack stuff that goes on, because she knows I'm a negator right now and I'm fighting off against a human. That'd be unfair. Shout out Billy, I miss him. As I mentioned, Fuuko's gotten knocked back to the ropes, and this scene kind of scared me. Void says, alright, that didn't work. Let's go in for a barrage. And this was just the most relentless, kind of scary craziness I've ever seen. If you watch Super Smash, if you were watching Genesis yesterday, this felt like Mars off stage versus DeBuzz. He was not letting go until they were done. The only thing that saved Fuuko was the bell, and as they both walk back to their corners, Void just looks at Fuuko and says, I know you're hiding something. Bring it out. I'm trying to fight you at full strength. But as I mentioned, Fuuko is too good of an individual to do that. She doesn't want to just fight Void Volks at what would actually be a disadvantage. And respect to the queen of everything, the hardest character in Shonen Jump, I swear to God. As the second round begins, Void looks over at Fuuko and is like, hey, you're finally ready to fight? And as he's finishing this sentence, Fuuko leaps across the entire stage with one of Shin's moves, a Zeshu Ho lashing step cannon. I don't know how to pronounce that, don't yell at me for how I did. However, although Fuuko presumably broke his guard, that's just not the case. And this dude, Void, is literally like Toguro in his prime. He looked at Yusuke and said, you're not showing me something, Urameshi. She literally just looks at Fuuko and is like, hey, this isn't the technique which you were hiding from me. And he just comes in with the craziest combinations you'll ever see. And once again, puts Fuuko back on the ropes. And I was terrified this chapter. We had had some thoughts. We're like, yeah, we know Fuuko's going to take the blow. She's going to use her unluck. But no, she was really out here scrapping with Void Volks. And praise to the queen because she held up. She held up. But during this assault on Fuuko, Void starts to get a little bit upset, just recognizing that, hey, you're not showing me all you've got. I want to have the best fight with you I could possibly have. And he just doesn't understand that from Fuuko's side, from her perspective, she actually is giving him the best fight that he could possibly have, because every fight after this, it's not going to be the same. You're going to have this curse imposed on you, and she just wants him to go out literally on top, really experience what he's truly experienced throughout his entire life. And she just has this relentless resolve in order to get him to that point. Although she took that entire barrage of blows, Fuuko just jumps off the freaking ropes with the elasticity of those to get back and give Void a punch. And she's just giving it all she's got, can barely even stand up. And dude, just this abs Fuuko with all the resolve. Yoshifumi, you gonna get me going. And you know Fuuko, she acts like she knows everybody even when they don't know her. So she's trying to explain to Void, I'm giving you the best fight I can give you. I'm trying to give you the best last fight I can give you. And as Void, kind of confused, doesn't know what she's saying, just accepts the fact that she's a really cool person, a very commendable, respectable fighter, and that's what he says to her, that she is the best boxer he has ever fought against. And that show of respect, that show that yes, you are a promising young fighter, was what kind of began that situation. Procced whenever that curse, unavoidable, manifest. And as Void comes in, he doesn't even know, and I feel him. It's a terrifying thought. You're a boxer, you love respecting individuals who you fight off against, and he just is staring down an opponent, somebody he truly respects, as a fist, one that could quite literally muta an individual, is coming for their face, and he's terrified. He's like, Fuuko, why don't you dodge? I see your eyes are tracking this. And this was crazy because Andy had this same realization at the beginning of the series. He was like, I can't move. And that's the situation Fuuko gets caught in. And unable to avoid the blow, Fuuko gets hit right in the face, but Gina's right there to catch her. And although Void doesn't even think she should be standing, Fuuko gets back with an uppercut that hits Void right in the guts as we finally begin the fight we've been waiting for. A negator on negator boxing match as Fuuko Izumo continues on into what's going to be, round 3? Of some of the most hard-boiled stuff I have ever seen. This is going to be, upon rereading, probably one of my favorite fights in Undead Unluck. Just seeing Fuuko Izumo just fighting? It's crazy. We don't get to see this type of stuff too often in any series. This is Jujutsu Kaisen, this is Naruto type of stuff. And I just like that. Just real boxing, real fighting, and just some real resolve being shown. If you ever watch sports anime, if you're watching Blue Loco right now, you know. A show of resolve, a show of resilience. Some of the hypest stuff you can see. This chapter got my blood boiling, and as I mentioned, updates on the 2022 video. It should be out sometime this week. I've been working on it, had some technical difficulties, and by that I mean the whole video got erased. I love Max, but I knew what I was saying. I got my script, re-recorded it, and we just got to edit it all. So that'll be coming, and the second reason why that happened is because I started reading 20th Century Boys. Talk about procrastination. Love y'all. Hasta luego.